Hello everyone, and welcome to another News Coolum video and another charging site review. I'm here in Willows, California at the Black Bear Diner, charging at a new EVgo charging site. So this is a site that was at least partially paid for by those California Energy Commission grant funds. It features two of the BTC Power Slim units. They're both 125 amps and they have a CCS and CHAdeMO cable each. And then in addition, there's another BTC level 2 charger that has a dual head and 30 amp service. So overall, there are 4 plugs that can be actively used at one time, it looks like. And you know, this is a really good travel stop. It's just off of Interstate 5. It's about 90 miles north of Sacramento, so it positions it fairly well in terms of distance from some major cities for travel routes. And again, being located right next to a restaurant, it makes these 50 kilowatt chargers you know, a little bit more appropriate for travel purposes, because a lot of times long trips you're going to want to stop for a meal every now and then. And of course, even though this is located at the Black Bear Diner, there are other restaurants that are within walking distance. So overall, it's a really good stop. And again, you know, you can't argue with being basically a right turn and a right turn off the freeway, depending on which direction you go. So yeah, it's really accessible, it's a really good site. So I'm happy to see it in place. All right, so let's jump right into the site score. In terms of accessibility, I'm going to give this site a 9 out of 10. As I mentioned before, you know, it's just off the freeway. It's really easy to get to. It's really easy to access. You know, the only issue here is really there's no full pull-through parking. These spots aren't likely to be blocked by internal combustion cars. You know, they have good signs up, and, you know, just generally up here, people are going to be more respectful of parking spaces, especially parking spaces that are marked at a business. Regardless, there's ample parking throughout this facility and next door, so really there's not going to be an issue accessing parking here. So overall, this is getting a 9 out of 10 for access. For amenities, you know, this is a fairly amenity-rich site, but I'm only going to score it an 8 out of 10. And part of the reason for that is, again, no covering. Now you can argue whether it needs to be solar or not, but these are south facing. So essentially they're going to be full sun exposed. It gets hot here, it gets sunny here. And then of course you also get rain and sleet and other weather that you would want to be protected from if possible, at least protecting the chargers, providing some shade for the chargers, if not for the spots. So it gets dinged for that. But then also in terms of amenities, this is a small town, so a lot of these businesses aren't open 24/7. So you might end up having to walk to access a bathroom, and you know, it could be a pretty decent walk, maybe to one of the gas stations or something else that happens to be open 24 hours a day. But again, this is a sleepy Northern California town, so your access to those amenities might be limited. So it's only getting an 8 out of 10 for amenities. In terms of site concentration, I'm only going to score this a 4 out of 10. It's only 2 DC fast chargers, which is less than what I consider the basic average at this point of 3. There are 2 level 2 AC heads here, but in terms of travel chargers, I don't really know how well those should count. It's a limited for 2-hour parking, but 2 hours on level 2 AC even, first of all, it's not what you're going to want to do while traveling, and it's not even really going to be worth it. You're really wanting to use the DC fast chargers, and for that, it's really not going to get any sort of a bump up. I'm only going to score this a 4 out of 10 for site concentration. In terms of location, though, I am going to score this a 9 out of 10. This is a fairly important site. There's a lot of cross traffic between Highway 162 and Interstate 5. But again, this is also Interstate 5 in California, highly populated with electric vehicles. This is going to be a very highly trafficked route. And there's already a lot of build out here, but this is one of those gaps that needed to be addressed. This charger went in almost identical time as the Electrify America charger on the other side of the freeway, but I don't think that diminishes its importance. It's still an important charging stop, and it gives an alternative to the Electrify America on the other side of the freeway. So for location, it's getting a 9 out of 10. In terms of speed, these are 50 kilowatt chargers. They're, basically bare average as far as I'm concerned. That's 5 out of 10. These could easily be 100 kilowatt chargers and still account for the use case of having a sit-down dinner place. Cars like the Bolt EV, Hyundai Kona Electric, the Kia Niro EV, they'll all see a 5 to 10 to 15 minute, maybe 20 minute bonus by having a 100 kilowatt charger instead of a 50 kilowatt charger. And if these are going to take 45 minutes to an hour, it's still easy to get a sit-down meal in when you're traveling in 30 to 35 minutes or 40 minutes. So having that increased power is valid even for a site like this. So these 50 kilowatt chargers are really sort of underpowered in this day and age, and it's only getting a 5 out of 10 for speed. Now that brings us to a total site score for this EVgo charger in Willows, California, to a 35 out of 50, or barely a C. You're really hoping to see more from these charging implementations. You really want to see them pushing a little bit harder, getting a few more units into place. There are 2 parking spaces here that are really not associated with a charger at all, and they could have easily put in a 3rd DC fast charger to account for that extra space. And then just maybe, it would have bumped the score up significantly from there, especially if it were a 100 kilowatt charger that would actually be able to push some of these electric vehicles a little bit faster and a little bit farther. So I'd love to hear what you think. Do you travel I-5 a lot? Do you come to this area of Northern California a lot? Are you going to end up using these chargers? I don't know if you're as happy as I am to see them located next to something like a diner or a sit-down restaurant, which is going to make travel a lot more convenient. It gives you, options in terms of food and other things along the way. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and thank you for watching.